InnerWhisper channel.
The Flow of Time Learning from Impermanence. Part 2. Impermanence Within and Without. Step outside your door, anywhere in the world, and you will see the truth of impermanence written in every leaf, every breeze, every shift of light. Nature is the most patient and honest teacher of impermanence. It does not argue. It does not disguise. It simply reveals. The seasons' eternal dance. Think of the 4 seasons. In the United States, people feel them vividly. The crisp bite of winter, the gentle rebirth of spring, the golden glow of summer, the fading fire of autumn. Each season arrives in its time, stays for a while, and then gives way to the next. No one can hold back winter when spring wants to come. No one can stop the leaves from falling when autumn calls them down. The cycle continues, year after year, reminding us that change is not an interruption of life, it is the very rhythm of life. Farmers have always understood this truth. They plant in spring, reap in summer and autumn, and rest in winter. They do not demand that summer last forever, because they know that without winter's rest, the soil would be exhausted. The cycle, with its endings and beginnings, is what makes life possible. If we could learn to see our lives as seasons, we would suffer less. Childhood, youth, adulthood, old age, each has its beauty. Each has its necessity. We cannot cling to summer when autumn has arrived, but we can savor the crisp beauty of autumn, knowing that winter too has gifts to bring. The river that flows on. Another teacher of impermanence is the river. Stand by the Mississippi, the Hudson, or even a small stream in your local park, and watch the water moves. What you see is not a thing but a process. The river is never the same from one moment to the next. Dip your hand in, and the water you touch is gone in an instant, replaced by new water rushing past. Yet we still call it the same river in truth. The river is a living metaphor for our lives. Always moving, always changing, yet still carrying a name, a story, an identity. Heraclitus, the ancient Greek philosopher, said, "You cannot step into the same river twice." The Buddha, thousands of miles away and around the same time, taught the same truth in his own words. All conditioned things are impermanent. 2 voices, from east and west, singing the same song. We ourselves are rivers. Our bodies flow with blood. Our minds flow with thoughts. Our lives flow with experiences. To imagine that we can freeze this river is an illusion. To flow with it, however, is freedom. The life of a flower. Consider a flower. Perhaps a rose blooming in a garden, or a wild daisy by the roadside. For a brief moment, it bursts into beauty. Its colors shine, its fragrance spreads, its petals open to the sun. And then, inevitably, the petals curl, fade, and fall. The stem withers. The flower returns to the soil. Is this a tragedy? Many would say yes, but look deeper. The flower's death nourishes the earth, making room for new blossoms. Its seeds scatter, carried by the wind or by birds, ensuring the continuation of life. The end of one bloom is the beginning of another. If flowers never faded, Gardens would be monotonous, frozen. It is because they die that we appreciate them. It is because they are fragile that we lean closer, breathe in their scent, and feel grateful. Our lives are no different. The fleeting nature of beauty is what makes it shine. The fragility of time is what makes each day meaningful. The sky and the clouds. Look up at the sky. Clouds gather, form shapes, drift, and dissolve. One moment, you see a towering mountain of white. The next, it has melted into a thin veil. No cloud ever stays the same. Children love to lie on the grass and watch the clouds transform into animals, castles, faces. Adults often forget this simple joy, but the lesson remains. The sky is impermanent, yet endlessly creative. And notice something profound. Behind the ever-changing clouds, the vast blue sky remains. In Buddhist imagery, the mind is like the sky, and thoughts and emotions are like clouds. They come and go. Storms appear and pass, but the open space of awareness remains. Impermanence, then, is not just about losing. It is about seeing what endures beyond the changes. The sky does not fight the clouds. It allows them, embraces them, and lets them go. What would our lives feel like if we did the same with our thoughts and feelings? The mountains and the stars. Even the grandest things in nature, the mountains and the stars, are not immune to impermanence. The Rocky Mountains rise high and seem eternal, but geologists remind us they are constantly changing. Wind and rain wear them down grain by grains. Earthquakes can shift their form in an instant. Over millions of years, mountains rise and fall like waves. The stars above us, too, are born and dies. Our own sun, blazing faithfully every day, will one day exhaust its fuel, expand, and fade. The galaxies swirl, collide, and evolve. What seems permanent on the scale of a human lifetime is revealed as transient on the scale of the cosmos. Impermanence is not just a human experience, it is the law of the universe itself. A lesson from the falling leaf. In autumn, a single leaf detaches from a tree and drifts to the ground. It may seem sad, but the leaf's fall is not the end of the story. It decomposes, returning nutrients to the soil, feeding the roots of the very tree from which it fell. Life continues in a circle. Death is not a final wall, but a doorway to transformation. The falling leaf whispers, "Nothing is wasted. Nothing is truly lost. All is change. All is continuation." When we contemplate the falling leaves, we see our own lives reflected. One day we too will fall, and yet our energies, our love, our actions will nourish others. In this way, impermanence is not just loss, it is continuity. Nature's compassionate reminder. Nature never hides impermanence from us. It shows us every day. The sunrise, the sunset, the bird's song, the bird's silence, the tide rising, the tide falling. The problem is not that impermanence is hidden, it is that we close our eyes to it. We want summer to last forever, the flower to never wilt, the loved one to never leaves. But if we listen gently to nature, we hear its compassionate reminder. Nothing lasts, And that is what makes everything precious. Impermanence is the heartbeat of nature. And because we are nature too, not separate, but part of this vast web, we carry that same heartbeat within us. To resist impermanence is to resist life itself. To accept it is to return home. When we talk about impermanence, it can sometimes feel abstract, almost distant, like a philosophical cloud floating above our lives. Yet, the truth is, impermanence is not only something we can observe in the stars, in the seasons, or in rivers. It is something we live with, moment by moment, inside our very skin. Our bodies and our minds are living laboratories of impermanence. And if we dare to look carefully, what we discover is both humbling and profoundly liberating. The body as a river of change. Pause for a moment and notice your body. The simple act of breathing is an ever-changing cycle. Air flows in, air flows out. Each breath you take is slightly different from the one before. Sometimes shallow, sometimes deep, sometimes smooth, sometimes uneven. Each inhale and exhale arises, lingers briefly, and dissolves. We do not hold on to a single breath, because we cannot. Imagine if you tried to cling to one inhale forever, you would suffocate. Life itself depends on letting each breath go. This is impermanence made visible, made intimate, and it does not stop with the breath. Our heartbeat is not a static rhythm. It accelerates when we are anxious, slows when we are calm, skips when startled. Every beat is a wave of change. Our skin cells, our blood, our bones all in motion. Science tells us that nearly every atom in our body is replaced over time. We are not fixed beings, but flowing rivers of biology. The hair you brushed this morning, the skin cells you shed, the food you ate and digested, all proof that your body is in constant transformation. Yet we often live with the illusion that the body is permanent, that we own it, that it is us we look in the mirror and wish to freeze youth, to preserve beauty, to resist aging. Advertisements feed this illusion by promising creams, diets, surgeries, all ways to cheat impermanence. But the body whispers the truth. I am not fixed. I am a process. I am change. The mind as a sky of passing clouds. If the body is a river, the mind is a vast sky filled with passing clouds. Thoughts appear, linger for a moment, and then fade. Try to hold on to a single thought forever, and you will see it slip away like smoke through your fingers. Emotions rise, crest like waves, and recede. Anger does not stay forever. Neither does joy. Neither does sorrow. Think of the last time you were furious. Perhaps someone cut you off in traffic, or a loved one said something hurtful. In that moment, it felt eternal, overwhelming. Yet where is that anger now? Gone. Like a storm that has passed over the ocean, leaving only ripples. Or remember a time of pure happiness, perhaps a celebration, a kiss, a moment of triumphs. It felt like it would last forever. But that too dissolved. If you search for it now, you will find only memories. Our minds are constantly shifting, endlessly dynamic. The Buddhists describe this as anicca, the impermanence of mental states. Neuroscience supports this. Neurons fire, patterns shift, moods fluctuate. There is no permanent self sitting behind the curtain pulling the strings. Instead, there is a theater of changing roles, changing scripts, the fear of losing identity. Yet here lies the paradox. Even though our bodies and minds are clearly impermanent, we cling desperately to a sense of continuity. We say, "This is me. I am the same person today as I was yesterday, and I will be the same tomorrow." But is that true? The child you once were is gone. The teenager you once were is gone. Even the version of you from last year is gone. What remains is not an unchanging essence, but a thread of continuity woven from change itself. This frightens us because it threatens the foundation of identity. If I am changing moment by moment, then who am I really? Am I the same person who made mistakes 5 years ago? Am I the same person who dreamed as a child? Or am I someone new, constantly reborn? Philosophers in the West often sought to find a permanent soul, a fixed essence. In contrast, Buddhist philosophy invites us to see the self not as a permanent structure, but as a flowing process, a dance of body and mind, sensations and thoughts. This view is unsettling at first, but if we embrace it, it can also bring freedom. Because if we are not fixed, then we are not trapped. We are free to change, free to grow, free to let go of old stories about who we are. Aging as the teacher of impermanence. Nothing reveals impermanence of the body more directly than aging. From the moment we are born, the clock begins. A baby becomes a child becomes a teenager becomes an adult, and eventually the adult becomes elderly. Wrinkles appear, hair grays, muscles weaken, senses dull. For many, aging feels like a betrayal. We look at old photographs and ache with nostalgia, longing for the youth that has slipped away. But aging is not a betrayal. It is the most honest expression of impermanence. To resist it is to resist the natural flow of life. To accept it is to align with reality. In fact, aging can be a profound teacher. It strips away illusions of permanence, forcing us to confront the truth. It softens our arrogance, reminding us that we are part of a cycle larger than ourselves. It deepens compassion, as we see others walking the same path of fragility and decline. Memory and forgettings. The mind, too, carries the marks of impermanence through memory. We often believe memory is a reliable storage, but in truth, memory shifts, fades, and transforms. You do not remember your childhood exactly as it was. Each recollection is filtered, reshaped, and sometimes even fabricated. Forgetting is as natural as remembering. Isn't it curious that even our most cherished moments, weddings, birthdays, triumphs fade over time? Photographs may preserve images, but the vividness of the experience dissolves. This fragility of memory is both painful and beautiful. Painful, because we long to hold on. Beautiful, because it reminds us that life is precious precisely because it cannot be frozen. Freedom in seeing impermanence. When we finally allow ourselves to see the body and mind as impermanent, something unexpected happens. Freedom arises. Suddenly, you are no longer enslaved by the idea that you must always be the same, or that you must preserve youth. or that you must hold on to every thought or feeling. You begin to live lightly. When sadness comes, you know it will pass. When joy comes, you savor it, because you know it will pass. When aging comes, you honor it, because it too is part of the sacred dance. You stop resisting the current of the river, and instead allow yourself to float with it. Impermanence does not diminish life, it magnifies it. It turns every moment into something rare, something unrepeatable. The body that you inhabit right now, the mind that you carry right now, these exact configurations will never exist again. To realize this is to fall in love with being alive.